Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. Just thought I'd do a quick video comparing two of BCM's vertical foregrip options. Just a little bit of history about the vertical foregrip on the AR platform. So it all started in the 1990s to 2000s with the SOTMOD program that came out with the Knight's Armament broomstick style vertical foregrip that was connected via a screw attaching to the pick rail that would tighten on the pick rail. And that was all nice, and obviously it was a cool guy thing to do at the time. And I mean, many of us grew up watching those rifles on video and in movies. And then the way that they were often gripped would be in a traditional, gripping the broomstick. The problem was that you would cause the rifle to torque and twist in your hand, so to speak, and you would more likely than not affect your aim and accuracy more than if you had just had a regular support style grip. Now, since then we've evolved to more of a C-clamp grip, a support grip. We've started using the vertical foregrip as something to drive leverage in when you're entering a room, obviously to deliver physical force by using a muzzle strike, obviously in a self-defense context, or if it's using it to stabilize on barricades, or to aid in the thumb over a bore grip or C-clamp grip or the myriad of other support hand grips that you can use. And since then, the actual profile of the vertical foregrip has changed as well. And obviously, if you're clearing rooms, your support grip will eventually come down to here, but that's understandable. But in general, we do the way that support side grips are advocated now are something that allows you to leverage the grip on the handguard in order to lessen the muzzle rise. And that's the primary focus of your support hand grip in general, and also to drive the muzzle from target to target to target. And that's what the overall package over here and in many other rifles tries to accomplish. Now, just in terms of BCM, they have a long vertical foregrip. They have this, which is a screw mount version, as you guys can tell here. They have a 1913 rail version as well. And they have M-LOK versions, key mod versions of this foregrip as well. Difference being this one has no storage compartment, this one does, and then we'll go over a few more differences as well soon. And then they also have the kinesthetic angled grip, which is sort of in between a hand stop and a vertical foregrip, developed by Travis Haley with BCM. Also a good option if you're looking into something that's a little bit more low profile. And I believe that is adaptable for all the other rail attachment systems as well. So I just want to thank BCM for making this review possible. I previously reviewed this and had a lot of positive feedback, and just thought I'd review this one as well. So I do appreciate them making this review possible and helping us with our projects. And I'm a big fan of BCM and their accessories in general. It goes without saying, their complete rifles are also good to go. They just have a ton of stuff out of stock right now because people are sort of understanding that there's many grades of AR manufacturers and AR accessories, and the days of having Chinese airsoft accessories on the AR are pretty much over. And it's really worth investing in a duty grade AR and moving slowly as you sort of put those together. But if you need a rifle, you need a rifle. So, but I would recommend sticking with quality brands, sticking with duty grade brands like BCM, like Psionics, like Sons of Liberty Gunworks. And if you wait, hopefully the good deals that were before pre-COVID will come back. But definitely recommend you guys check them out. And if anything else, at least the upgrading to certain accessories doesn't cost a whole lot of money either. I believe this retails for, I think, maybe $25. Maybe this is like $19, or maybe a little bit less even. Just not sure off the top of my head. But the 1913 pick rail over here requires 6 Picatinny rail slots, and requires 6 Picatinny rail slots. One being over here, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6. So you'd have one opening here, one here, one here, one here, 4, for a total of 6 actual pick rail studs. And that way you have a bunch of good different contacts that spreads out the weight evenly. You also have the solid metal anchor connection over here, and that spreads out the force and the clamping. And as opposed to the other foregrips that would be torquing with one screw over here, you have this screw over here that gets tightened, and that presses up on this over here to this little nut over here to tighten this clamp against the rail it's being attached to. And then you have the use of all these different lugs over here that engage the slots in the pick rails, which makes for a very strong contact. And I had it on a different rail before and still works really, really well. Just took it off just to show you guys, but no problems at all, no wobble at all on the Picatinny rail. The other vertical foregrip we're looking at is the VGS. It's the screw mount version over here, and what it has is, well, this rail came with a 5-slot Magpul polymer Picatinny rail, and that's what it's sitting on currently. But they do also, I believe, make a M-lock version of this kind that will attach directly to the bottom of a rail for more of a low profile look. One thing I've really come to like about the BCM style grips as opposed to the Magpul grips or the tangled down grips is that there's a slight angle over here which has a better, more natural form to contour to your wrist. So you're not really straining your wrist when you have your hand in a support grip like this. And that angle over here is really, really good for that. You can also reverse it, so that way you have something to pull into as well. Now, the shape over the grip texture itself is, if you've ever held a BCM grip, you'll know what the texture feels like. But it's this really, really nice stippling over here, and then the contoured lines over here that make for a really nice grip that you won't lose even if your hands are wet or sweaty or anything else that you might be in contact with. And that's really, really good for a good engagement surface. Same over here, same thing in terms of same grip texture. Now, I mentioned this before, but this comes with a storage compartment. It is really, really hard, I mean, at least for me, to open it without using some channel locks or pliers, but it apparently will loosen with time. So I just haven't had to need to store anything in it, but it's nice to have it just in case. And I believe it is water resistant, though I'm not sure if it's totally waterproof. But anyway, it's oriented downward. I don't think water would get it anyway, but best to probably wrap into some kind of Ziploc if you're going to be storing batteries or any kind of water sensitive item. Now, tips for install, I would say if you use blue Loctite on the screws over here, you should be good to go. You don't really need to, but I would recommend it just if you want a more of a bomb-proof setup where it won't walk on you after any kind of recoiling that will cause some kind of vibration to make the screw back out. I haven't had any issue with it at all. Not with this, not with this. I did put a little dab of Loctite, and no issues whatsoever. So all good there. Over here, you do have to use a torque screw, and I believe it is you guys can pause this just to take a look at the instructions. T15 Torx driver. While this can be done with any kind of Phillips screw head. Show you guys this as well. And has they say you can use a quarter, you can use anything in the field, probably rim casing of bullet as well. But like I said, hasn't come loose at all. And then you can also reverse this portion over here to have the screw on the other side. For me, I like the screw over here because this, even though it's not sharp, it's just nice not to have this right into my palm as I'm gripping this with my left hand. There is a little spring, 2 little springs in here, so as you take out this plastic thing, be careful not to dislodge them or bend them in any way, and then you could just switch them over to the other side. So that's really, really good that it's modular and in many ways, so you don't have this screw hitting into you. This one on the side over here. The other thing I would say is it also has the engagement surfaces inside, like these plastic things that allow it to have a gripping surface on all sides on all the different bars of the pick rail, and that's really important as well. That way you spread out that force and you're not putting an undue amount of force on any one piece of rail. So in terms of the actual gripping of it, for me this works perfectly. I'm so happy I found this kind of setup because for me this is exactly what I would have wanted in a AR setup. So support hand can rest over here and a thumb over bore, can activate the light, one quick movement, thumb tail cap, Streamlight HLX, and a LZ ZSM mount. ZRX mount, thank you. ZRX mount. We do have some of the IDF style elastic bands on top of Ranger bands. That way we keep heat dissipation to a minimum. sorry, that way we encourage heat dissipation from these open vents, but we don't burn our hands on the while we're gripping the support grip. So plenty of room for air venting, but at the same time, fingers and everything is nice and comfy. No issues there at all. The the natural angle over here for the wrist, like I said before, helps really, really nicely to not twist my hand at all when I'm going for activating the light or just gripping the rifle in general. And then I can also come down here. Here, I can do a switch my hands over here. So pretty natural overall. No fatigue or any extra aches from this at all. And I'm really happy I settled on this setup. Same would work over here. And then let's do a size comparison just so you guys can appreciate any type of differences in the grip. So just a slightly longer. Slightly longer as well. If you're looking for more of a low profile, this will be good to go. If you anticipate having maybe to store stuff in it, or you want something a little bit bigger, then like this ledge over here is really, really nice for one of my fingers. Just show it to you real quick. So my middle finger likes to rest on that, and I like that ledge for my finger, but this one is more low profile. And then in terms of width, this one is a little more wider as well, so does take up a little more, just has a little bit of a bigger footprint. No problem for me at all, because anyway, if you look over here, this part of the rail this is a pretty wide rail, 2 inches wide, Midwest Industry suppressor ready rail, suppressor compatible rail or something. So this ledge doesn't bother me. But if you have a super thin rail, this over here, this ledge might stick out a little too much for your liking, but I have no problem with it at all. So that's the main differences, comparisons, pros, cons of each. Only con I would say is that this storage compartment is a little hard to remove, but I'm sure we'll get better with time. Other than that, no cons at all. Both grips are good to go. BCM, of course, good quality, good manufacturing, no defects at all. Quality is good, finish is good, hardware works, and yeah, that's all I would say. If you guys have any questions, you know what to do, leave them below. Thanks again for all the new subscribers. If you like what you see, please hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys all in the next video.